there we go. Good morning, I am Ryan Toots, Director of External Affairs here for the Georgia Department of Community Supervision, and because I guess I'm better lucky than good, I'll be your MC this morning. So thank you all. I'm glad everyone arrived safely from their respective destinations. I know we're draped out in our masks and other PPE, but from my vantage point, everyone looks great. So with that, I know it's been a challenging year, uncertain year, a year that we've had to overcome a lot of adversity, but we've done it, and that's what today is all about, is celebrating our accomplishments and our achievements as an agency. So we're looking forward to a great day and getting you home in time for lunch, or getting you back on the road in time for lunch. And with that, if we could just stand and just celebrate ourselves for a moment and give this agency and department a round of applause for being a resilient and flexible department. And of course, don't sit down. That was my cheap way of getting you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. We'll jump straight into our program. I'll do my best to not prolong the program and be respectful of your time. We have our welcome and introduction of our keynote speaker by Commissioner Michael Nail, followed by remarks from the Honorable Chief Justice Harold Melton, our keynote speaker, special recognition, and we'll have the special recognition presentations, and then I'll be back up to lead us in the presentation of awards.
Well, good morning. I'm excited. Anytime you can recognize the great work of staff throughout the agency, it's a great day. And this is a great day. Amidst the award winners, we also had over 150 nominations. I don't think there's any greater compliment than being recognized by your colleagues and your peers. So certainly congratulations to the winners, congratulations to those that were nominated. I also want to extend my sincere appreciation to Sherry Chambers. Sherry, thank you for everything you have done to put this together. Also her various awards committees. A lot of work behind the scenes, but I can tell you it is work that is well worth doing when we can recognize our teammates. We've got a challenging job, there is no doubt about it. But instead of a job, I would say it's a challenging calling, because not everyone can do what we do. And we do it every day with honorable intentions, wanting to make a difference. We can't be everything to everybody, but we can be everything to somebody. And that's the point. Every day working to make a difference and make our communities safer and healthier and more prosperous. And you do it extremely well, and I thank you. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker, Chief Justice Harold Melton. And it was interesting because we put him right at the front of the agenda to be respectful of his time should we have to go. But let me tell you the type of man Chief Justice Melton is. When I shared that with him, and I said, now if you have to exit, we certainly understand. He said, no. He said, this is too important. So here you have the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the State of Georgia recognizing how important your work is. And sir, I want to thank you for that. I got to know Chief Justice Melton back in the Purdue administration. Back then we were talking about reentry. And one thing I knew, if he was going to be at a meeting and you saw him on the invite, don't miss that meeting, okay? But I got to know him and watch him from a distance, and I saw how he interacted with individuals. Now, I'm going to read his bio, but I think it's always special when you can talk about an individual and the impact that they have because you've witnessed it firsthand. And I can tell you, he is a man of true character. On July 1st of 2005, he was appointed to the Georgia Supreme Court by Governor Sonny Perdue. He was sworn in as Chief Justice on September 4 of 2018 by former Chief Justice Harold Hines. Many of you have heard me talk about Justice Hines. When I started as a probation officer in Cobb County in 1989, I learned quickly Justice Hines' expectations that you treat everyone with courtesy, dignity, and respect. And I've never forgotten that. Prior to joining the court, Chief Justice Melton served as Executive Counsel to Governor Perdue, representing the governor on legal issues covering the entire scope of state government. Chief Justice Melton helped safeguard Georgia's interests in water rights disputes with Alabama and Florida, and he actively participated in administration efforts to advance the delivery of criminal justice services in the state. Before serving as Executive Counsel, Chief Justice Melton spent 11 years in the Georgia Department of Law under 2 Attorney Generals, where he dealt with issues ranging from the creation of the Georgia Lottery Corporation to the administration of Georgia's tobacco settlement. Prior to leaving and joining the governor's office, he served as section leader over the Consumer Interest Division. Chief Justice Melton received a Bachelor of Science degree from Auburn University and his Juris Doctorate from the University of Georgia in 1991. He previously served as a volunteer leader of Young Life Ministries for 11 years and currently serves on a local Young Life board and on the national board. He is also a board member of Atlanta Youth Academies. A native of Washington, D.C., Chief Justice Melton grew up in East Point and Marietta, Georgia. He currently resides in Atlanta with his wife, Kimberly, and their 3 children. Before we welcome him to the stage, I've just got to ask, who were you rooting for last Saturday?
We didn't do well.
Okay. I think you get it there. But see, I look at it different. It didn't matter because you won. You won. But I will tell you, you can see from his bio that he makes a difference. He makes a difference professionally, and he makes a difference personally. And I can't think of any more honorable attribution than being able to do that. So please join me in welcoming the Honorable Chief Justice Harold Melton.
So, Commissioner, anytime you want to invite me, please do. I need to hear that. Thank you for those kind words. And I do really appreciate the opportunity to be here, especially since it's somewhat of an invite back. Commissioner had me come down, I guess, a couple of years ago for another event with the department. So, obviously, I didn't offend anybody, so thank you for the validation there. But I'll tell you another reason why I feel that it's so important to be here. There was a time, as Commissioner read on my bio, where I was more involved, hands-on, doing outreach to young kids, and that takes a lot of energy. You can wear yourself out. So as I've gotten older, I realized I can be more efficient by giving to the givers. If I can find who the givers are and undergird them and support them and give them a little bit of energy, if I can play a small role in being a source of encouragement to those who are giving, that is a very efficient use of time and energy. And so I think I know something about you people. I know that's not the way we talk today in our politically correct world, but I think I know something about community supervision people, the folks that are out there working with our citizens who run afoul of the law. And it's important to give to the givers. I know something about you. I know that you probably aren't in this work for the recognition. You're not in it for the recognition. You're not in it for the glory. I know you're not in it for the pay. That's safe to say, right? We know you're not in it for the pay. But still, it's important. Still, it's nice to hear somebody say, thank you. Still, it's nice to hear somebody say you're making a difference, to validate your efforts that you're engaged in on a daily basis. It's nice to know that somebody has noticed. It's nice to know that when you are sure or you're not sure about what you're doing and whether it's making a difference, to hear somebody say, you know, this did touch somebody. It helped me in a way that I didn't even know, that you didn't even know that you were helping. And so it's important to say thanks. And so in those moments of time when you're frustrated, when you're discouraged, when you're just tired, as you go through the ups and downs, hopefully this day, this ceremony can be a moment in time where you can remember and reflect and say, oh yeah. And you can remember this room and the cloud of witnesses that have gone before you and gain some sense of strength and encouragement and perspective, because we're in this for the long haul. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And we want you to be strong and effective for year after year after year, because the people you serve count on it, and the state you serve count on it. And so we want this to be a reminder for you as you move forward. So I think I know who you are. I think I know the kind of person you are. I believe you to be mission-oriented. This is not a job, it's a calling, as the commissioner already indicated, and you're about the business of doing two things: healing and building lives. Healing and building lives. Because the people that you come in contact with, the people that you serve, have had a whole lifetime of stuff by the time they come to you. Some of it's self-inflicted, some of it's inflicted upon them as they were growing up, but in any event, they got a whole lifetime of stuff, and not good stuff. And they're gonna have to overcome this. And you're part of that healing process. You're part of that healing, the recovery from all that stuff. And then there's the building part. Because there's certain folks who, in their environment and their upbringing, they've never been built up. Their whole personal infrastructure has never really been developed. Their whole understanding of how they fit into this world has never really been fully developed. Their perspective about their place in the universe and their spirituality or lack thereof, that's never really been developed. Their right mindset for how to be a husband, a wife, a mother, a father, a member of the community has never really been developed. And so we're building, we're healing, and you're building. And so when you're doing all that, that's real ministry. And I'm grateful that you've taken upon yourselves to engage in that real ministry. But it requires a lot. It requires that you give of yourself as you pour into others, because that's what it means. It means you're walking side by side, you're elbow to elbow, screen to screen these days, and you are pouring into individuals daily, year after year. You know, there's a lot of talk these days about criminal justice reform and social justice, and you know, Georgia is a lot further than many states in the country. And I'm always excited when we have these conversations to be able to say, well, let me tell you what Georgia already has been doing, and most people have no idea. But you know, the criminal justice reform movement is really designed to make sure that we are working as smartly as we can as we deal with criminal justice issues. Can we be more efficient? Can we be more humane? And do all these things without compromising public safety. We still have to maintain public safety, first and foremost. And so we know historically as a state, and even as a nation, we're pretty good about dealing with the punishment aspect of criminal justice. We know how to do punishment, we know how to do retribution. We also know how to do deterrence. We're pretty good about that. But the question has always been, what about the rehabilitation process? What about that aspect of it? And frankly, we know historically that has not always been front and center. And so that's been a real legitimate question. But so the criminal justice reform movement has refocused on how do we do rehabilitation? How do we heal and build? But you were there before all that. You were rehabilitation before rehabilitation was cool. And yet here you are still, and you're dealing with some of the most difficult populations to deal with. And when you deal with criminal justice system issues, and you're dealing with the people who come into the criminal justice system, and you're dealing with it from a rehabilitation standpoint, I believe that there are certain things that you learn, and I think you will know these to be true. And one of those things that you learn is that criminal activity is really a symptom. It's not the problem itself, it's a symptom. It's a symptom of broken lives. There are people who commit crimes because they're hungry, but by and large, people who commit crimes out of a sense of brokenness, a skewed perspective about how you live life, different rules of engagement, or just inability to control themselves. But there's a huge degree of brokenness. And that's not just unique to the criminal justice system. If you look at a lot of the other social issues that we're dealing with, they're all symptoms as well. Our educational system, we talk about the high school dropout rate. Well, why can't Johnny read? Well, a lot of times that's a symptom of what's going on in the homes. Infant mortality rates. If you look at the underlying issues for underlying infant mortality, a lot of that is symptoms of brokenness, underlying brokenness. And you can go all across the board: domestic violence, alcoholism, drug abuse. All these things are really symptoms. Well, what are solutions to the underlying problem? Healing and building lives. Healing and building lives. And all that takes a great deal of effort. It takes time and it takes community. Housing, for example. You just don't fix a housing problem by giving somebody a house. It takes healing and building lives, and it takes community. You can't do it all. You don't touch these individuals enough for a long enough period of time. And so it absolutely requires community to come alongside to help heal and build. Just like all these other scenarios, it takes community. And it takes family. Hopefully you have family that are part of the mission and share that journey with you, because that makes all the difference in the world. Because we only have events like this once a year or every so often, but you go home every day. And when you go home, that can be such a great source of strength. So to the family members who are supporting our award recipients today, I want to say thank you, because I know that you are playing that role of being a reinforcement and a source of a reminder of the vision and the mission that lies ahead. And it takes an internal engine. And an internal engine is that which is inside you that gets you going day after day after day. Because it sounds real exciting the first day out there doing the work, but after you get your 10-year pin and the 2% raises aren't as exciting as they used to be, what keeps you going? And what keeps you motivated? What keeps you focused? And it takes a lot of perspective as you continue to pour and you continue to gain something in you so you have something to pour out. And so that internal engine is critically important. And so I think I know you. I think I know your people. I think I know what drives you. I will tell you the closest thing that we have within the judiciary to the Department of Community Supervision is our Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. These are folks who are overseeing our accountability courts, our mental health courts, our drug courts, our DUI courts, our Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. And when COVID hit, we issued our first judicial emergency order in March of this year. And we've had our judicial council calls where we talk about all these things. We have emergency meetings about once a week now. And I had the opportunity to discuss with the leadership of all the court systems across the state what's going on in our judicial emergency orders. That's municipal court, magistrate court, probate, juvenile. And in talking to the judicial council about the order, we trimmed down court services initially down to what we call those core functions, those essential functions. And those essential functions were largely defined as those that were necessary to protect health and safety, life and safety. So your temporary protection orders for domestic violence, your child removal hearings, your mental health commitments, those high-end, high-pressure issues were the kind of things we said, those are essential functions. And then after we had that discussion, I focused on the director of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, and wanted to make sure that she understood that I don't know what you do as it relates to the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and the accountability courts. Because here was my concern. There are some people that her folks dealt with that if they didn't have contact, they would unravel. And I didn't want anybody to not have contact because I said what they were doing was not a core function or essential function. And so what I said was, catch the spirit. Don't be legalistic about our executive order. You do what you need to do based on what you know to be right. So did I give her clear direction? Yeah, I gave her clear direction. I gave her clear direction that said, if you sort of maybe kind of think you need to do this, by all means do what you need to do. The beauty of it was, that's all she needed to hear. I never had a single question about clarification. Is this okay? What do you think about it? And I know that she went and did what they needed to do. And I trust that they made sure that nobody who needed to be touched went untouched because the executive order said that essential functions were defined in such a way. And I know you'd be those kinds of people, that you just want to get the job done and change lives. I'll tell you two other things and then I'm gonna wrap up. I was invited several years ago to sit on a panel. The church was putting on a program involving faith and justice. And in advance of that, the person that was putting it together asked me to serve on it. He said, I'm going to ask you to define justice. And I said, okay. Why me? And he said, well, justice is in your title, you ought to be able to define it. I thought, well, that's fair. And so I started thinking about justice and what it meant. And when I started thinking about justice and what it meant, I realized that I've never heard the word defined. Not one time have I ever heard the word justice defined. Not in third grade civics class, not in Sunday school class, not in my history classes, not in law school. Never have I heard the word justice defined. And I would doubt that any of you have ever heard the word defined. But yet we march for it, we demand it, we fight for it, we say we're even willing to die for it. But what is it? And so as I started preparing, I played with a lot of different definitions. Started off really long and lawyerly. You should be pleased to know that it got much shorter. And when I finished with that exercise, I had 3 words to define what justice is. And I don't know if it holds up, but it's held up for me. I'll share it with you and you can play with it and see what you think. But the 3 words that I came up with were the right response. The right response. Simple enough. And so as a parent, I look back with my 3 kids. They're older now. I have 2 in college and 1 about to graduate high school. But when they're little, they, not like your kids. My kids would get in trouble from time to time. And so if my kids had my 3 kids, if all 3 of them were writing on the wall, and in response, I pick up my kids and throw them out the window. Right response? Probably not. What if I did nothing? Right response? Probably not. So there we know that justice can be doing something and injustice is not doing something. So it works pretty well. Is justice doing the same thing for each person? So what if I look at my kids and they're writing on the wall and one of them looks at me and says, oh, I'm so sorry, Daddy, I'll never do it again. And the other kid looks at me and says, what other wall you got? Same response for both kids? No. You've got to do something different. And so when you wrestle with this, you start realizing that the right response And giving the right response has a lot to do with what you know about the situation, what you know about the people you're dealing with, how to meet their needs so that they can get past what we're going through. And we're not excusing anything, but we're dealing with it head on. So we're dealing with the retribution, we're dealing with the punishment, but you're on the rehab side, but you are very much a part of the justice side. Delivering justice, doing justice on a daily basis, because you are part of this right response, and you're part of getting intimate and getting the knowledge necessary to deal with these life circumstances, to heal and to build. And so you do justice, and there's no higher calling than doing justice. Last thing I'll say, Commissioner Nail mentioned the work I did with teenagers, with Young Life. And we were in the neighborhoods, we were in Techwood homes, and the way we were organized, we had another guy who was really over everything, but we worked in Techwood homes, he worked in East Lake Meadows. You may remember East Lake Meadows was like little Cambodia is what people call it back in the day in the Atlanta area. And this guy's a hero to me. He's about 10 years older, college graduate. I say that because he was a really, tough dude. And he was a former Black Panther. He played he played professional football. Guess who he played for the Raiders? If you know anything about professional football, the Raiders were the dirty boys of the NFL. But this guy was one of those kind of dudes. And the leaders tended to attract kids that kind of reflected their leadership. So I had all the nerd kids in Techwood homes. He had kids that were matching this former Black Panther NFL, so he had some really tough kids. And what came with that was, violence. A lot of his kids were shot and killed. And he was going funeral after funeral after funeral. And I asked him one time, I said, Dennis, how do you keep doing this? How do you keep doing this? And he said this. He said, I'm in the battle for the lives of these kids. And in warfare, they're casualties. I can't be one. I'm in a battle for the lives of these kids. They're casualties. I can't be one. I know something about you. You're in a battle for the lives of the men and women you serve. You're in it for the long haul. There will be casualties. You can't be one. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment.
Thank you so much, Justice Melton. Those remarks were inspiring, encouraging, and very motivating. So thank you. Let's give Chief Justice Melton one more round of applause for consistent leadership as well as your consistent support of our mission in our department. At this time, I'll turn it back over to our Commissioner and our Assistant Commissioner for special recognition.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Justice Melton. Chief Justice Melton. Excuse me, sir. That's the underpinning of DCS. Healing and building lives. And having the right response. I've never heard it really summed up any better. I'm being very, very serious with you. I don't think we could have had a better keynote speaker. So thank you again, sir. Very much so. Somebody the other day asked me, how's it going? I said, well, budget cuts, pandemic, little civil unrest, couldn't be better, right? It is definitely, as Kimberly Persley said, it's not the new norm, it's new opportunities. That's what it is. It's new opportunities. We were asked to serve. And how do we pay back those that during the pandemic and the civil unrest set everything aside? Set everything aside, just went. Didn't necessarily know what they were getting into, didn't know where they were going. They just went because they were called. And they had a duty to serve. They left their families behind. It upset the apple cart at home. Other workers had to take tasks on that they would have had to do, but they went because they were called. And it didn't matter whether you were, helping unload or provide security for PPE sites, distribution sites, whether you were directing traffic at COVID testing sites, whether you're providing security as a presence, whether you showed up at civil unrest, really sympathizing and understanding those that were doing the protesting. You still went because you were called. And you never hesitated. Because that's what you do. That's what we take an oath to do. And I couldn't be more proud of those that stepped up and went to serve when they were called. We've developed a DCS Special Leadership Coin specifically for those that participate in the statewide law enforcement response to the governor's public health state of emergency related to COVID-19 and or under the state of emergency declared as a result of the protests. Now, work with me. I am not Latin, okay? You know that. Just you probably, I know from legal, you have a lot of Latin taught, but the term supra et ultra, right? You don't know how hard it was for me to not say Celica supra, okay? Did the best I could, but simply what it means is Latin for above and beyond. Above and beyond. And it's pertinent to those who sacrifice their time and set aside personal feelings and plans in selfless sacrifice to their state and community. The shield on the back of the coin is a symbol of our role in protecting the public during these two events, and the design on the shield represents the virus that we have all been fighting. So each one of those that called and served will be having a special letter of commendation mailed to them along with this leadership coin that you see on the screen. And I hope you'll join me in a round of applause, including yourself as well as those others that serve. Thank you very much. And now, Assistant Commissioner Scott Mauer is going to have a special recognition.
Good morning. I'm very pleased and honored to be able to give a special recognition today before we get into all the individual employee awards for our IT folks. And Michael will often remind me that he feels pretty confident that the internet is around to stay and that email is going to catch on. And I'm reminded on a daily basis of just how often and how much we rely on information technology as an agency and just in our personal lives. I'll tell you a quick story. So, back when the session was in, and we were actually going to work every day and driving, to an office and showing up. My son went down to the Capitol one day in Page. He had an opportunity to go over to the Capitol during session in Page. And generally what they do is they stand outside the chambers, whichever chambers they're paging for, and they'll get notes that have to go into one of the representatives. And so they have to take that note into that representative, give it to them, and then the representative might write something down on a piece of paper and hand it back to them and tell them to take it to somebody else. And so when the date was over, I asked him, I said, so my son's 12. I said, how did it go? And he said it was fun and he learned a lot. And he's like, Dad, you will not believe what they did over there. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, they text on paper with pens and pencils. And I'm like, it hit me that, at this point in time, from a technology perspective, like, my son doesn't even know what writing a note is. Because it has no idea. To him, it's texting on paper. So, you know, as an agency, you often hear us say, we have the best IT shop, the best technology in the state, and probably in the nation. And there's probably not too many leaders that would come up and tell you, well, we might be 6th or 7th on the list of IT shops in the state. But, you know, every once in a while you get an opportunity to prove the fact that you do truly have the best IT infrastructure in the state. And this year that happened for DCS and for our IT folks. So going back several months ago, Kelly Farr, who a lot of you probably don't know who that is, but he's the director of OPB for the governor's office, asked to come over and sit down and get a presentation on our technology because he had heard a lot of good things. We gave him a presentation, and he stopped us about halfway through, and he said, hold on, I need to have our chief technology advisor to the governor come see this. And so we rescheduled it for another day. The chief advisor, Anon, I'm not even going to pretend to know how to pronounce his last name, came over and we gave him the same presentation. And we really thought that it was just going to be one of those things, like we give them the information, we show them what we're doing, they give us a pat on the back, that's great, you know, thanks for all the hard work you guys are doing, but it did not turn into that at all. It turned into, I think, Phil Sellers is now on a non-speed dial. For every time there's an IT-related crisis in the state, they're calling Phil and our folks to help out. So a good example of that is the gang database. So they had a number of vendors come back with bids on developing and building a gang database for the state of Georgia. And after Kelly Farr and Anon came and saw the capabilities of our IT team, they actually challenged DCS and our IT folks to create the first phase of the Georgia gang database for the GBI and for the state. And our folks took on that challenge, did an exceptional job, spent a ton of hours, worked through the holidays to get it done on time. And so that just is confirmation to me and to Michael and to all the executive leadership team that when you have the governor's office calling on your IT folks to develop a gang database for the state, that they have confidence that you're the best IT division in the state, without a doubt. And so it didn't stop there. When the COVID crisis hit, there was a number of agencies that couldn't work remotely. We had to deploy hundreds of Chromebooks to those agencies. Phones we had to deploy to several agencies in order to give them the ability to work remotely. And so we have been the go-to for the governor's office and for OPB to solve any IT challenges that we have. And you guys know I don't have to go into all the things that they do internally for our agency. And the thing that impresses me the most about our IT staff is that I've worked in places before where it's usually you go talk to somebody in IT about something, a problem you're trying to solve or an issue you're having, and they give you 15 reasons why you can't. And that is not the case with our IT staff. I want to commend Phil and for his leadership with his division and his folks, as well as Aberdeen and Keith. They do a phenomenal job for this agency, and we would not be the technology and leader in criminal justice community supervision in the country if it weren't for those folks. And so I think we have a very short video that we're going to play. And just special recognition to our IT team and everybody and all the hard work that they did.
Thank you so much to the hardworking IT division.
Thank you so much to the hardworking IT division.
I want to take a few minutes just to say thank you.
Thank you so much to the hardworking IT division.
Thank you so much to the hardworking IT division.
Your incredible efforts and innovative solutions have helped us make great progress.
Each of you continually go above and beyond, and we could not do this without your support.
It really helped us to move forward as an organization and to be much more efficient and much more effective.
Specifically for finance, you have enabled our entire division to work more efficiently in a virtual fashion, providing us continuous support and education in leveraging our existing technological solutions, and are always willing to help us identify new tools to better support the agency and do our job.
We appreciate your team attitude and your willingness to collaborate with us on solving problems.
On behalf of the Recidivism Reduction Unit, I'd like to personally say thank you for the time dedicated with the creation and deployment of the programs portal earlier this year.
On behalf of the HR division, I want to thank the IT division for their creativity and innovation.
Your team has worked hard to ensure that we have the best electronic equipment to do our jobs and the right reports in the portal to ensure efficiency.
To the time dedicated to assisting our staff and our counselors across the state with learning to utilize the Google Classroom platform in order to enhance our current telehealth services.
Your dedication and responsiveness allows special operations to operate anywhere necessary 24/7 in emergency situations and during normal operations.
So, for this and all things that they've done, I want to say thank you. I want to say, please continue being creative, being innovative, and helping us to mechanize and to use technology in ways that really help us to be effective. I wish that a lot of the IT people were part of our organization because we use them a lot, and they have been so helpful.
Couldn't do it without you guys. Love you dearly. Thank you so much. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you, IT. I sincerely appreciate your service.
Thanks to the IT division.
So again, I say thank you, IT division, and keep up the good work.
If you'll please join me in a round of applause for our outstanding postmaster.
Thank you, Commissioner Lill and Assistant Commissioner Meyer for that special recognition moment. And Phil, I had to tell a little white lie to get those photos, so I hope you'll forgive me. I told Phil that before the annual report because we had very few photos, but we wanted to make sure that we got this recognition, this well-deserved recognition accommodated for us. So thank you so much, and again, congratulations, and thank you for all that you do to support the great work of this department. And at this time, we'll jump into our presentation of awards. So kind of just a little housekeeping. We'll have each presenter will come up and describe the award, and they'll make you aware of the nominees. And then once the winner is called, the winner will enter the stage here to my left. The winning nomination will be read, and then you will have a solo photo here at the banner set up, and then you'll exit the stage. I think that's clear as mud, right? All right, so it's clearly to be done in a social distant manner this year. You will receive the award while the nomination is being read. So with that, we'll start with our presentation of awards, starting with Director of Executive Operations, Sandra Thomas, followed by Mr. Bert Llewellyn, who is our Chief Operating Officer. At that time, we'll move into our Stakeholder Award from Ms. Michelle Stanley, our Director of Reentry Services. And then at that time, we'll have a moment of remembrance by Chief Wellness Officer, Mr. Reginald Hewlett. Ms. Thomas?
Good morning. What a great day for DCS. My name is Sandra Thomas, and I'm Director for Executive Operations. It is my honor and pleasure to present our Command College Scholarship recipient for 2020. This award is very special to me. I was a recipient of this award over 10, 12 years ago. So very, very dear to me. The Command College Scholarship is awarded to DCS employees who are actively pursuing advanced education at Command College in association with Columbus State University. This program of study provides a curriculum that goes beyond what is currently available in public safety, executive and management development courses, serving as graduate level education for safety, public safety executives. And our winner for 2020 is Davita Hatton. I also have the privilege of presenting our 25 and 30-year Faithful Service Awards. Due to COVID restrictions, they could not be here today. But when I think of 25 and 30-year employees, I think of the words like dedication, commitment, valuable. Those are the words that I think about when I say 25 to 30 years. The Faithful Service Awards are in recognition for years of faithful service and to show our appreciation for your dedication and commitment to public service for all Georgians. I'll read the names to all of our Faithful Service Award winners. Your awards will be with you locally, so please reach out to get those. So I'll begin reading the names for 25 year. Randy Allen, Mark Travis Bowers, Tamika Buck, Ramona Marie Burgess, Marcus Flynn Carlton, Jerry Gordon Davington, Jennifer Dixon, Darla Faye Dunn, Ricky Lee Entrican, Marcus Carroll Finister, Beverly Grant, Donald Haywood, Joan Lamb, Pamela Lee, Mark Ryan Massey, Eric Millen, Carla Felicia Moses, Scott Mullis, Cynthia Nervo, Gregory Scott Owen, Jimmy Paget, Robert Parham, Nick Tyrone Perry, Lori Roser, Brian Keith Sane, Rhonda K. Shutters, Jerome Smith, Nancy Smith, Michelle Stanley, Robin Michelle Wynn. Congratulations on your 25 years of service, and we wish you the best. And to our 30-year employees, we sincerely appreciate your hard work and efforts year after year. Thank you for staying with us throughout the years. We are so happy and so proud of all that you have accomplished of these 30 years. Isaac Jeffrey Anderson, Catherine Elaine Bass, Thomas Mitchell Bedingfield, James Bergman, Reginald Birdsong, Willie Carswell, James Shine, Robert Eady, Brian Thomas Gilmore, Donald Jaffes Lowe Jr., Donna Moore, Cynthia Murphy, Dan Nesbitt, Gina Rogers, Etta Laverne Smart, Tamara Stubbs, Archie Stanford Wade, and Leslie Nan Wing. Thank you for being such a valuable member of our team.
Good morning. I have the honor of presenting 2 awards today, the first of which is the Customer Service Award. If you're not familiar with that award, it is awarded to individuals for performing in an exceptionally courteous and cooperative manner, or for providing exceptional support for co-workers, offenders, or the general public that increases public safety and or the community good. And you can see we had many nominations this year, all very deserving. Let's give them a round of applause. Unfortunately, we can only have one winner, and I can't think of any more deserving than this individual.
And for 2020, this award is going to go to R. Russell.
R is a pinnacle of what customer service should be. She continuously performs excellent service within the misdemeanor probation oversight unit and with outside stakeholders while serving as the NPOU TAC for the GBI, serving GCFB and GCIC, and providing requirements to executive leadership as the DCS board liaison. Her diverse background in critical thinking allows for her to perform all functions needed for exceptional job performance and customer care. Her dedication to the misdemeanor providers, the DCS board, and the agency makes her a great candidate for the Customer Service Award. She is a team player and an exemplary agency employee. She provides exceptional support to internal and external stakeholders, which ultimately increases public safety and the community's good. R proves that just by simply treating others with respect, that you can make a huge difference for the department and in the lives of others.
Thank you, Brian. Our next award is the Leadership Award, and it is awarded to individuals for outstanding performance in guiding attention to issues and concerns that impact the quality of agency work and the environment of work. So you can see we have many deserving nominations again on this one, but for this one, so I've got this leadership award here for 2020 in my hand, and I'm going to give it to Kim personally.
And is not only a leader, but a team player who is both passionate and dedicated to her profession, her office, and the Albany community. She models exceptional performance for her team. She has conducted field visits in the absence of officers, completed warrants and revocation petitions on behalf of officers to assist when needed, and has fought for equipment and resources for our officers. And most recently, she personally served on the front lines when COVID-19 ravaged the Dougherty County community. Because of her caring spirit and exemplary leadership, she personally chose to be the sole person to interact with our judiciary and the Dougherty County jail staff to keep interactions at a minimum between DCS staff and outside agency individuals, despite having health risks of her own. Lastly, she personally is a mentor. She speaks positivity in situations that may appear to be negative and motivates her team members to not only do what is being asked, but also inspires her team members to make a difference. She is well known and respected in the Albany community and serves on numerous boards and commissions. She personally even recently co-sponsored a Women's Leadership Summit, which embraced, empowered, and encouraged every woman who attended. She personally takes pride in everything that she does and continues to work countless hours ensuring that our office, this department, and our community is reflected in a positive light. Congratulations, Chief Person.
Good morning. I have the pleasure of recognizing the private and the public stakeholders. Our stakeholders play a vital role in our success. These relationships build networks that develop credible, united voices about issues, products, and services that are important to the work that we do, those that we serve, and the organization as a whole. The Stakeholder Award is an individual or organization outside DCS for performing an act that furthers the DCS mission or makes significant contribution to offenders or the general public, that increase public safety and or for the community good. The first award is going to be for our private stakeholders. Behind me, you will see those that were nominated, and we give them all applause. But this year, I have the honor of giving the Private Stakeholder Award to Kevin Skidmore with 440 Truck.
My sincere apologies. Kevin's kid, at the age of 16, Mr. Skidmore was convicted of an armed robbery charge and sentenced under Senate Bill 44 and given a mandatory 10-year sentence. Mr. Skidmore's incarceration was a turning point in his young life, and during his incarceration, he earned certificates in graphic arts and architectural drafting and financial literacy. After his release in 2005, he was determined to work hard and secured a job at Trojan Battery in Lithonia, Georgia, where he was promoted and worked for 13 years. In 2014, he launched 440 Trucking Company, LLC, to give individuals who were transitioning out of incarceration an opportunity to make a living wage. His personal vision aligned with the goals of reentry services, and he began to dedicate his time and resources and currently serves as one of the co-chairs of the DeKalb DCS Steering Committee. His goal has been to improve the quality of life of the newly released and allow for a smooth transition back into the community. Kevin has assisted 50 new releases out of Metro Reentry Facility with job placement and has a network of 11 companies that offer access to employment for our supervision population. By not giving up, Kevin's life has transformed hundreds of young men and empowered them not just to survive, but to thrive. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Skidmore. As the Director of Reentry Service, I know firsthand the work that you do to support those that we serve, so thank you again. I also have the honor of giving the award to the public stakeholder. Behind me, you will see those that was nominated for this award. Can we take a moment and give them applause? I'm honored to give this award to Dale Allen of the Athens-Clarke County Probation Office. I'm going to call the Senior Probation Officer, Chris Cole, to come up to receive the award in his behalf.
Dale was a proven and continuous supporter of community correction since the inception of the misdemeanor probation offender oversight unit in 2016. Dale was not only participated in statewide training, but also served as a board member for GPAC to continue the working relationships within the industry. Dale and his team stepped up once again during the COVID-19 response by initiating a community service project, Project Hope, and single-handedly supplied necessary masks to anyone in need. Dale stated, "We sent masks to local hospitals, retirement homes, nonprofits, small businesses, and the courts. We made sure that everyone coming to the probation office had a mask if they wanted one." Dale and his team made significant contribution to the offenders and to the general public that increased public safety and the community's good by going over and above their typical job duties. Dale was a great advocate for community corrections, and he no doubt leaves behind an amazing legacy of service. Let's give congratulations to Mr. Dale Allen and the legacy that he leaves behind.
Good morning. I'm Resident Hewley, Chief Wellness Officer, and today I'll be presenting a moment of remembrance on behalf of those teammates, employees, friends, families that have passed over the recent fiscal year. Family. Family is defined as a specific group of people who share a common focal point, bond, goal, and ancestors. Just like the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, we find that common focal point. The DCS family comes together not to be served, but to serve our communities and the citizens and visitors to the great state of Georgia. Even more importantly, we come together to recognize the accomplishments of one another, but also to serve and share in the pain of one another during personal and professional crisis. During fiscal year 2020, we lost 4 members of our DCS family and countless other family members and friends of our extended family. The 4 members that we lost that were immediate part of the agency: Mr. Teddy Mcallister. Teddy was a counselor in the Cummins DCS office. As just recently spoken of, Chief Probation Officer Dale Allen of the Athens Clark County, and again, he was an integral part of the agency through misdemeanor and GPACs. Pam Arnold, counselor at the Day Reporting Center in Waycross, and Officer Larry Baker, who is assigned to the Cobb Judicial Circuit. All of these friends have lost their lives here recently during this fiscal year, and also not currently a picture, but we just found out the other day, we had another recent death in the death of Miss Mary Large. Mary passed away on Tuesday, and I just found it appropriate. During this time, we were also mentioning her, and information will be going out about Mary this afternoon, but she recently passed away on Tuesday, and she was from the Lookout Mountain Circuit, DCS. The end of watch. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things, and I will set thee over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. So we hope that each of our current friends that have passed away have received that message from our Lord. Last thing I would like to leave you with is, as it states here in Job 1, the Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Also, in Job it states, naked I come from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Everything that we have is a gift. Thus we live our lives in the present. Let's cherish the day and give our loved ones flowers while they are still living. It is so important that we understand this and share during the times that we have them with us, and not only in those times that they pass away. Grieving is a time, and mourning is a time that we share with each of our friends during this time. And I just want to thank each of you, and may the peace of God rest with each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hooley. You all would just indulge me in just a brief moment of silence to pay respect to the legacy of those we remember. Thank you. At this time, we'll transition back into our awards ceremony, starting with our Drc Awards, followed by the Tiffany Bishop Award, the Heroism Award, and then our Employee of the Year Awards. And then at that time, after those awards have been received, we'll have our closing ceremony remarks. Director Lewis.
Good morning. I have the distinct pleasure of being able to announce 2 new awards this year. The first is our Drc Program Evaluation, based on recommendations from the Criminal Counsel Reform codified in Senate Bill 174. DCS started working with UGA back in 2018 to plan and implement an evaluation for all existing DRCs and create an evaluation tool for future DCS use. The goal of the project was to evaluate program effectiveness and ensure consistency across all DRCs with services and operations. The final report from the 2019 evaluation was received this summer, and this evaluation will be conducted every 5 years as established in Senate Bill 174. I'm really excited to announce that we set the bar high. The overall average for all DRCs statewide was 84%. And today I'm pleased to present the highest DRC program assessment score to 2 of the highest scoring DRCs. The first is Macon Day Reporting Center. Nikisha Hook, Center Administrator, please come up and accept the award on behalf of the goes to Houston Judicial Circuit Day Reporting Center. Assistant Chief Mario Harris, please come up and accept this award on behalf of Houston. Thank you. The next DRC Award is the highest overall performance. This past year, we implemented a program matrix to highlight the contributions of our day reporting centers that they make towards advancing the mission of our centers by providing opportunities for successful outcomes for those under supervision. The categories measured include most GED completions, highest employment rate, most community service hours, and program capacity. The first award goes to Gainesville Day Reporting Center. Ms. Owensby, will you please come up and accept the award on this behalf? And the second winner for the DRC highest overall performance, again, goes to Houston Judicial Circuit Day Reporting Center. Assistant Chief Harris, please come forward again. Congratulations to all recipients, and thank you all for the hard work and dedication and effort that goes to our DRC programs throughout the state. Thank you.
Good morning, and congratulations to all the nominees and award winners thus far. It's my honor to present the Tiffany Bishop Award. The Tiffany Bishop Award is awarded to a DCS officer within their first year of service who has excelled by producing consistently high quality work and has fostered unity with coworkers and the community beyond expected standards. Please join me in congratulating the nominees, which will be on the screen. And the winner is Sarah Williams.
Sarah has been a hard and dependable worker from the day she was hired. While in basic, Sarah requested to be able to conduct field supervision of her cases during her virtual weeks, along with her training assignments. Given Camden County's proximity to Florida, Sarah has also embraced dealing with a heavy ICOPS caseload. She volunteered to take on the accountability drug court in Camden County and Glenn County upon the maternity leave of the officer who has supervised that court for years. She attends the staffing and group meetings related to recognition and sanctioning of the offenders in the court, all of this while maintaining a full caseload of her own. She also volunteered to work civil unrest details when help was needed. She takes the time to personally involve herself as a positive role model in the lives of those assigned to her. Assistant Chief Andrew Malone served as her FTO and commented that Sarah has a work ethic that is sought after and desired by supervisors. Sarah has experience beyond her years and works passionately to build relationships that foster meaningful change. Congratulations, Ms. Williams.
The second award I have the honor of presenting is the Heroism Award. And there are 3 recipients of this award. The Heroism Award is awarded to individuals for acts of heroism and outstanding deeds which resulted in the protection of life and or property. Please again join me in recognizing the nominees on the screen. First winner of the Heroism Award is Jamie Gray.
On June 29, 2020, returning citizen Willie Earl Williams reported to the Cobb DCS office. No more than 3 minutes after signing in, he walked out of the office, got in his car, and left. A short time later, CSO Wells noticed a note that was folded and laying on the other side of the glass in the reception area. She read it and stated that it looked like a suicide note. FTO Green looked up his information and called Mr. Williams 5 times before he answered. Mr. Williams stated that he had been arrested for a new misdemeanor charge and truly did not want to go back to jail. FTO Green kept Mr. Williams on the line while admin Susie McDowell contacted Cobb and Sandy Springs PD Dispatch to give the description of the car he was driving when he left our Cobb office and also put a be on the lookout notice. FTO Green attempted to keep Mr. Williams on the phone as long as he could, but eventually Mr. Williams hung up. FTO Green called and texted Mr. Williams numerous times, and he answered several minutes later. He asked Mr. Williams where he was, and he stated he was on the bridge. Green asked him to go back to his car and just talk to him about whatever he felt like talking about. This conversation lasted only a few minutes before Mr. Williams hung up again. FTO Green continued to call and text Mr. Williams, but this time again with no response. FTO Green contacted the Sandy Springs officers on the scene. The Sandy Springs officers found Mr. Williams on the overpass and took him to the hospital. They stated that when they arrived on the scene, his car was parked off the exit ramp and that he had just climbed down from off the bridge as they approached him. FTO Jamie Green's concerned action saved a life, and he is deserving of this outstanding recognition.
The recipient of the second award are 2 individuals, Jesse Akers and Dustin Broadway.
On the evening of June 15, 2020, while conducting field operations, CSO Jesse Akers and CSO Dustin Broadway witnessed a horrendous vehicle accident. Without hesitation and concern for their own safety, CSO Akers and Broadway responded to the accident. While on scene, both Akers and Broadway assessed the individuals in the accident for injuries and called EMS over radio. There was a female that was 7 months pregnant in the crashed vehicle. They immobilized her and kept her calm in case of any unseen traumatic injury. The driver of the vehicle was a 17-year-old female, and she was having a panic attack as she thought she had injured the mother and unborn child. The officers were able to utilize de-escalation techniques to calm the young driver as well as the victims. The actions of these 2 officers are a reflection of their dedication to protect and preserve life, as well as their selfless service to others. The initiative and dedication to duty reflect credit upon themselves and are in keeping with the values of the Department of Community Supervision. Congratulations.
And last but not least is Johnny Hawkins.
On January 15, 2020, CSO Hawkins was conducting a field interaction at the residence of one of his supervisees, Mr. Reginald Holsey. After several attempts by Mr. Holsey's family of calling Mr. Holsey's name and hitting him in an effort to wake him up, they noticed he was unresponsive. CSO Hawkins entered and saw Mr. Holsey laying on the sofa on his back. Growing very concerned, CSO Hawkins examined Mr. Holsey but could not feel him breathing, nor did he feel a pulse. He quickly and calmly took charge of the situation and immediately went into action. CSO Hawkins called 911 and gave the operator a brief description of the incident. Hawkins began chest compressions and counted them to remain focused. While performing CPR, Hawkins began panting for air as he struggled to breathe but was determined to maintain the pace. Once EMS arrived, CSO Hawkins advised them that Mr. Holsey was still unresponsive and gave a detailed brief to assist the technicians with their investigation. Hawkins also provided vital information to the coroner to assist him with his investigation, as they were unfortunately unsuccessful in resuscitating Mr. Holsey. His courage, bravery, devotion, quick action, and commitment to duty and public safety reflects greatly upon himself, the Doherty Judicial Circuit, and the Department of Community Supervision. Congratulations.
Hello again. I am honored and privileged to present our last 2 awards for the day, and they are for the Employees of the Year. Hold on a second. Can't read the note I texted myself here. Still paying attention, good. The Employee of the Year is awarded to the DCS employees who are producing consistently high-quality work beyond expected standards over an extended period of time and/or have achieved a substantial contribution within the criminal justice field. And so please join me in recognizing all those that were nominated for the Employee of the Year non-sworn nominees. And the 2020 winner of the non-sworn Employee of the Year is Sharon Allman.
Ms. Sharon Allman is the community coordinator for the Stone Mountain Judicial Circuit. Anyone who knows Sharon knows that she is sincerely passionate about the work needing to be done. Ms. Allman's role as the head of the DeKalb Stone Mountain Circuit Steering Committee has had a huge beneficial impact for the staff of the DeKalb DCS office. As of December 2019, DeKalb County had amassed over 200 community resource providers for those we serve in the Stone Mountain Judicial Circuit. When housing challenges intensified, Sharon worked closely with the director of the DeKalb Housing Authority and made amazing strides to mitigate offender homelessness in DeKalb County. Her innovative approach to community coordination has led to the DeKalb office being designated a WorkSource Career and Resource Center. She has worked with healthcare organizations to register individuals under supervision with medical, dental, and vision benefits to assist in their transition. She has even partnered with local barbers to give dozens of free haircuts for those who have upcoming interviews. Perhaps her most notable accomplishment is the overwhelming display of community support at the annual DeKalb Family Night. She is an integral part of the DeKalb Reentry Task Force and a board member of the Metro Atlanta Reentry Coalition. Ms. Allman is driven to do the work she does because she views it as her calling and the work as her ministry. Her ever-present smile and overall happiness is infectious. Every community needs a person who can advocate those who want to make a change, and Ms. Allman is that person for the Stone Mountain Circuit and for DCS. She truly puts our mission in walking action. Congratulations.
And our last award for today is for the Sworn Employee of the Year. And the 2020 Sworn Employee of the Year goes to Mr. Corey Bettis.
Coordinating Chief Beggs has been with the Atlanta Judicial Circuit almost 6 years and the department for over 20 years. Chief Beggs epitomizes leading by example, especially during times of crisis and adversity. Early in the pandemic response, the department was needed for security at testing sites. This was before much was known about the virus, how it spread, measures to reduce contractions, or how contagious it is. When instructed to provide security at the Georgia Tech campus, he not only assured every duty was covered, he voluntarily served the first 3 days. He volunteered 11 times, and his officers served approximately 150 shifts. During the social justice demonstrations, the department lended its support to other law enforcement agencies to secure communities across Georgia. Chief Beggs did not hesitate and willingly stepped up to serve the first night with only 1 hour's notice and not knowing what other operations may entail. Chief Beggs volunteered 6 times and his officers over 170 shifts, safeguarding the Capitol and other security details. Chief Beggs wears many hats as a leader, teacher, counselor, confidant, and friend. When officers are on the front line, he is standing right there beside them. He avoids the spotlight and shines it on others. He can make you laugh with jokes that only he truly understands. His dedication, selfless service, time, and hard work to our team and DCS is truly understood and greatly and immensely appreciated. Congratulations.
So this has been quite a day, an opportunity to celebrate accomplishments of our staff and agency. And right now, there's not a lot of things that we are celebrating. And so I'm glad we had the opportunity and the time to come down here today. I'm going to be brief in my closing remarks, but I would like to, again, thank Chief Justice Melton for being here. And I don't think I'll ever look at the definition of justice the same again. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you for your remarks. Sherry, and anybody that served on any of the committees responsible for the nominations, approving the nominations, putting today's event together, if you'll please stand up for me, as well as Sherry. I know that this was not an easy task. Doing this in a socially distanced environment and not being able to rehearse was very difficult, so I appreciate all the work that you guys put into making today a success, which I believe it has been a huge success. And so I just want to close very briefly with saying that, you know, when I read all the nominations for all the awards today and read the award winners, one of the things that stood out to me the most is that everybody on that list and every nomination exemplified the values of DCS. And whether it was an act of heroism or just customer service, it was exemplifying the values of DCS. And two words came to mind when I thought about that. One was humanity, which is defined as compassionate, sympathetic, or generous behavior or disposition, the quality or state of being humane. And the other one was exceptional, which is very simply defined as better than average or superior. And I think all of our nominees, as well as our nominees or our award winners today, exemplify humanity and being exceptional. And so I want to once again congratulate you for your awards. I guess you figured out at some point that if you were invited down here today, that you actually won the award, so pat's out of the bag now, I guess. And I know that we promised to keep this ceremony somewhat brief. I don't know about you, I haven't had a tie or pants on in a long time, so I'm starting to react a little bit oddly to it. But I do want to say in closing that please keep being humane, keep relying on your values, keep being exceptional, and continue to make a difference every day. And because I love you guys, as a result of you winning the awards, I want you all to take Monday off. And be safe driving home, and again, congratulations.